screen. We'll get started, and we'll probably have, hopefully we'll have some more people join us as we're moving through. Alrighty. So just as a follow-up from the last time that we met, we went over and we reviewed some requirements. And actually, let me go ahead and share the link to this board in the chat. We went over some key components. We talked about that it was available for all partners. You would be able to search from your list of customers or add customers on the fly. You would be able to send referrals that include a consent. The partners would be able to respond to the referrals. They would get notifications. So, referrals that are past due, or, you have 5 new referrals come in, we can set up notifications within the system. Sorry. And then, of course, all the information that's in the system would be available for various reports and exporting. And we also add some other items that came about. We talked about adding our either additional must-haves or like to have. Right now, we're over here on this board so that we can circle back to those and determine if they are a must-have or a like to have. But we have information about bulk referrals, forwarding referrals, and addressing referrals that would be made to those partners that are along like the border of the state type partners locations. So what we talked about last time was we would have a landing page where you could see high level areas, maybe it's more of a status of something that needs response, something that's maybe like a red flag, or if you just need to pull some reports, you could do that. We have more like options for visualization, but then also lists that you can filter down to specific referrals or specific customers. We have the create referral button. So let's just start at the beginning with creating a referral. We talked about this last time. So you create a referral. You can search to see if your person is already in the system. If they are, you would select the person and select from a list of services and then hit next. If they are not in the system, then you could enter basic information, first name, last name, date of birth, email, those, and then, and actually zip code. Those are the things, and we also have a suggestion to add county to this list. And those are basic fields that are required for setting up an Illinois workNet account. And so what this would do, you would enter the basic required fields. Another piece of information that came out that seemed to be important was the veteran status. So we have this up here as a required field, and then of course the organization. So most people are going to be tied to one organization. You might be tied to multiple. If you're tied to multiple, then you select the organization that that the person should be tied to. Oh, am I back? Like my screen said I was not connected, but I guess I'm back. We have some other optional information, phone number, address. And then, so what would happen is you would enter this basic information, you hit add customer, the system would check these fields to see if there is a match in Illinois WorkNet as far as an account that's already available. If the account is already in the system, it would sync up and use that account. If the system can't make a match, then it will say, oh, there's, this is a new account we created on the fly. And then you would proceed to, and it says right here, you would, after you do that, then you could move on to create a referral, and that's where you would select the services that you want to that person to have, for what's been identified for what they need. That's what we covered last time. And so once you select next, you want to create the referral. You're going to select the provider for each of these referrals. So I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. And so the idea is that you would have your listing of services here, and you could either start typing and the provider would come up, or you could do the drop-down list. And if you already have an address in the system, which was some optional fields at the very beginning, then it would put the providers that say, for example, for transportation, it would put them in the list of the order that's like, within a 15-mile radius. I think that's what we said, 15-mile radius for that address. And some of the, less densely populated, I guess, and not as densely populated areas, you might have to move out greater than 15 miles to find a provider that provides that service. So we'd have an option to search greater than 15 miles. These providers would be the ones, it would be pulling from the service locator. So we would have our standard list in the service locator and, all of our list of providers, and then that's where they would manage if they're accepting referrals. And if they're accepting referrals, you could see them in this list. If you get to this point and you're like, oops, I need to add another service, you can click add another service to this list. If you get to this point and you're like, we need to save this for later because either something came up or I need more information, you can save it for later, or you can move on to the next step. And I have some notes in here. I think I covered them all. So once you have your services listed here, you have the providers listed here. And one of the things I just put it in here, I just wanted to show you that, I had the same CBO listed for childcare and job and career readiness services, and a different one listed for transportation. If I was going through this process and decided, oh, I don't really need something, I can remove that service. And again, I can add another or move on to the next step. Feel free to jump in and ask me any questions anytime. Once you have the provider identified, let me zoom in here, then it would provide a referral summary. And so it takes a look at those providers and then it says, oh, we have provider CBO number 5. And with this particular provider, they want childcare and job and career readiness services. And then you have a second referral, which is to Hire 360, and that one's for transportation. And then you can see that for CBO number 5, I don't have a consent, but for Hire 360, I do have a consent, and the consent is currently active and expires, well, now the date's passed, but you know, it has an expiration date. If you have an active consent, you could go ahead and send that referral right now. If you don't, it's grayed out. You need to update the consent. So with the consent, the wording would change, but this is just an example that's been, kind of drafted similar to what BHS uses whenever they in the referral piece within Illinois WorkNet. Similar but different. So I would expect this consent to change. So don't take it as this is what it has to be. But the idea is that you would click on Add or Update Consent. You would have text to say I'm authorized this referral partner to refer you to this other person, and these are the terms. Like in this example, the terms I believe are the consent is active for a year, and if the person wants to terminate or revoke consent, then they would provide it in writing that they want to revoke consent, and then the partner would have access up to that customer's information up to the point of where they revoked consent. Once it's in the system as they revoke consent, then the partner has no longer has access to anything after that point. One of the things that came out of conversations about consent in previous meetings or discovery sessions was that they wanted to make it like simplify the process. So we just say, did the customer provide verbal consent? Yes or no? There's no extra signing or anything like that. Once you say yes, would say the customer has provided verbal consent completed by like Natasha Telger on this date, and this is the expiration for the consent. And you can print the consent, and then it keeps a record for the consent. If later on you say, Natasha changed her mind and doesn't want to have that partner have consent anymore, you can update the consent, indicate that it is being revoked, upload, I have it in here as upload the in writing that the revocation letter, and so it's in the system, and then you can has it documents that the status has changed to revoked and the date. Are there any thoughts or questions, suggestions related to either identifying a partner, referral summary up to this point, or consent? Thumbs up, thumbs down, neutral. What are we doing? Neutral? Okay. Alrighty. All right. Okay. So after we have consent, let me zoom into here. So now you can see that now CBO number 5 has an active consent. So you could at this point send the referral from each of them. If you would like to add notes, you click add notes. You get a little mobile to pop up and you can type in your notes. add update note. And then once you do that, you can send the referral. You could add more services if you needed to make some updates. Once you send those referrals, basically you get a message that they have been sent, and then you can be directed to the customer's referral page where you can see the statuses, you can make updates, you can print them. And we'll take a look at that in just a moment. Any comments about notes and sending them off from the same screen? Okay. So we'll look at the customer referral page in just a moment because that's one of our paths. But I'll start with what happens after the referral is sent. Okay, so when the referrals are sent, an email is sent to the referral contact. So whenever you're setting the programs and everything up in Service Finder, you can identify one or more people to be like who gets contacted whenever there's a referral. So if you have multiple people, they can they'll receive an email. They don't necessarily have to log into Illinois workNet to respond to the referral. What happens is they'll receive an email basically that says, a referral has been sent to you. Please respond within X number of days. And they click the link and a form comes up. They complete the form and the information is saved back in Illinois workNet. And this is the form. So one of the things that we have the ability to do, let me zoom out here real quick. In this view of the person that's sending the referral, I just have some examples of information that you might want to have at the top of the screen just because you're working with that particular customer and you want to have that information available to you. And this is just simply to demonstrate that if we need more customer information on the person that's sending the referral, available, like a profile information that's more visible when you're working on the referral, then we can do that. And this is just to demonstrate that the person that's receiving the referral, we can just restrict what information. So if we need to put minimal information here that's available to the partner that's receiving the referral, we can do that. If we need to add more, we can do that. But just to point out that one view doesn't have to be the exact same as the other, if that type of thing is helpful. So whenever the partner receives the referral, they would see who is the referral from. They can see it was sent, provider, program, staff person's name who sent the referral, who the referral is to. So this would be the provider. Now, if there's a primary contact, as I mentioned before, we can do multiple people could be the one who's receiving the referral. So this is something to get your feedback on. If there are multiple people that are receiving the referral because they've been identified to receive referrals, would you want all their names listed, or would it be most helpful to have like the primary contact as who's receiving the referral and then not show like the secondary contact? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is Joel. I think so like when this referred to, how would that be input? I mean, would you have to just manually put that in, or would you have had I know like what we've tried to do in ours, but it's with limited successes. We put into sort of the database of who it is, and then you just have them in a drop down. So then you can just pick out of a drop down which one you want to send it to.
Okay.
The thing is
Yeah.
that in certain areas, you know, you're going to want to limit who's going to be the recipient. So you might, you know, if you have more than one site, if you just have one for each site or something like that, you wouldn't have the entire staff listed.
Mhm. Correct. So let me take just a side adventure here over to, let me zoom out real far so I can see it. So we have the service finder, you know, as you already know, in the system. And then wanted to add and build out this referral and special programs section. So like this example, let's pretend that whoever this is, 123 test service location has the Friendship Illinois Climate Works JDID and all these other programs. So, and they're all going to receive referrals. So they enter their program information, or if you picked one, it would already, you know, have this all filled out. Is it active? Sorry. Is it accepting referrals? And then, you know, these are the types of services that are offered. And then at the bottom, what we were going to have is like you already, you know, we have like a primary and secondary contacts for these different locations. One of the things that we were proposing or had talked about based on previous conversation was to have, you know, either like a checkbox that says, you know, Sam and Pat both receive are going to receive referrals. So it wouldn't be everybody with the organization that would receive
Right.
it, but yeah, just whoever you selected for, you know, this particular organization location. And then the thought is that whoever is selected, they would receive notifications and be able to get in there just in case, like either someone's, you know, on vacation, medical leave, moves on to a different position. One of our big concerns was just that they don't get lost, you know, in no
Right.
man's land, you know. So that's kind of what we were thinking. So again, I don't know if we should have like, you know, you have to choose one person, but then maybe it really goes to,
But
you
you
know,
wouldn't know if I'm
Joel.
on vacation, so why, you know, so
Yeah.
then that would be the issue.
So, I mean, the other option is it could go directly to like Joel, but, you know, Natasha and Taylor and Jake all have access to the same dashboard. So if we could see one that's past due, maybe we could get notifications for that. Or is it better to send it to all 3 or 4 people and list them on the page? That's kind of where I don't know what the best route is for that in reality, real life.
I think it's probably if you have a primary and a secondary, that would be, and then it's just a matter of, you know, training staff to say, hey, you know, when you get this referral, understand that you're, you know, that the other person also gets it. So you want to make sure that one of you it follows up. So you have to do it. It's going to be an internal training issue. So like our thing is, you know, the way things are now, I mean, I get a copy of every referral, even though I'm 80 miles away from that office. So it's like, that's, then I have to, or if I get the referral, then I have to figure out which one, you know, then, so you end up being traffic cop, and that becomes a time consuming thing. And that's one thing I was hoping to get away from. So if you did this with a primary and a secondary, I think that that's probably a better starting point.
That would be by location, so I would
Right.
think, so if you had, you know.
And it may
northern,
be
southern-
if you have an office with only one person, they would be the primary, and then you'd have to, have somebody else as the secondary.
Natasha, I'm wondering if we can use the contacts part that's already part of the service finder where they can set a primary and a secondary. And if they even need to, they could set multiple secondaries. So I'm going on
Mhm.
maternity leave. Let's go ahead and set, Kelly is another secondary while I'm out, but I still want to be aware when I get back or something like that. Because that feature is already kind of there at the primary and secondary level on
Mhm.
a location basis.
Yeah, but just so that they could
it-
possibly assign somebody that's maybe not the primary, like as a referral, as a
So
secondary.
I'm going to offer up a suggestion. Here's what we did. So we went with this new referral system with Brian. And so we set up a manager who gets reports and can go in and do whatever, but the referral itself, we all had to designate someone to be that person to receive referrals in our office. What we chose to do in our office is to set up an email address called opportunity@americanjob.center, and we have multiple people who have access to that email address. That check it all the time. But as the manager, I can still go in and say, where are we on this? I mean, and I check it periodically, and it's not every day, but then you kind of alleviate the need to have, if someone's going on maternity leave, to have a secondary, although I think both are a good option. I'm just offering up what we did here because now I have 3 people who have access to that email and can take on whatever needs to happen. So it's
Yeah.
just a thought.
Which would be similar to this. I mean, they would already have their Illinois WorkNet accounts. They all have
Right.
access to the same tool, dashboard and
Mhm.
stuff. So,
Yeah, you're definitely going to need a secondary in all occasions. So your manager is not going to have the wherewithal or the time or the attention to Joel's right. I don't have time for that. I'm not trying to be dramatic. It's just,
when individuals send the referral, if say on the other side the email is no longer active, is there going to be a bounce back system? We've had that happen where all of a sudden someone leaves with another partner agency and no one lets us know, and then the referral never gets there.
I can ask about, I mean, that we do have a bounce back notification. I just don't know how integrated it is. Been a while since I personally talked about it with anybody, but and that's definitely why we wanted to have like the ability to have multiple contacts. Just so if someone leaves, I mean, it would still go to the emails, and if it never gets there, but it's more than one person. So the idea or the thought is to be able to select is the idea to have a drop down to be able to select of the list of people who it goes to, or is it to go to the email notification to go to whoever is the primary, but anyone else that's identified as a secondary can get into the system and use it, or or what makes most sense for the.
I like that idea, that it would just, if you put it there, it would automatically go to the primary. But then, yeah, you also know that, as a manager, if someone's going to be out on maternity leave or something like that, that you need to either switch the primary or have somebody always go in and check that.
Dina
sort of
had her
assignment.
hand raised.
Mhm.
Hi, I was just gonna add, and I added in the chat, the template from the state for OSO contracts does outline that facilitation of the single point of entry, electronic and physical, and creation of the common referral system to be used by all partners is a bullet point in that template. So I think that could also be a point of coordination for any of those contacts that are coming in and out. So just wanted to point that out too.
Can you say that one more time? I'm not sure if I caught
Oh,
it
yes.
exactly.
The one-stop operator contract template that exists with the state, one of the scope of work bullets is facilitation of the single point of entry, electronic and physical, and creation of a common referral system to be used by all partners. So I think the interpretation of that facilitation piece could be that an assurance that someone from the partners is always active as the primary or secondary contact.
Natasha, in Service Finder, is there like an annual, I believe there is, right? It's part of Illinois WorkNet too, where it's an annual email that goes out just to verify updated
Well,
contract
it's every 6
information?
months, every
Yeah.
6 months.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Okay, secondary does not receive the email but can access referral and dashboard, etc. But they could receive notifications. So maybe like everybody, so the person that's the primary receives the email and they can access it through the tools. The secondary, they may not receive the email, but they can access it through all the tools. But we could also set them up so they could receive notifications for like if a referral is X number of days past due or something like that. Just to make sure. What do you think of that? I'm gonna write it down here, and if you don't like it, I can take it off.
So it would default to the primary. Could there be a drop-down option so you can see other secondary contacts as well?
In the form?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can. If it's gonna move up. We're good.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. So we're saying like when you go to make the referral, have a drop down? Is that what you're saying, Kelly?
Yeah, because I mean, otherwise everything's defaulting to the primary.
How would they know? Like, how would they know who to send it to? Like, if I don't know that community-based organization, I just see a list of 5 names. How would I know who to send it to? Shouldn't we just have it auto going to whoever that organization says is the primary to receive those? Or is there something I'm missing? That's where I was getting confused. How people would know what these names even mean. 'Cause kind of the comment that was made earlier about like, well, I'm a manager and I don't want all this stuff. But I want to have, I'd like to be a secondary and have access. So if I need to go in, I can. But if somebody just keeps changing it to go to the manager and then the person actually doing the work isn't maybe getting some of what they should be doing.
I guess my thought is like, so if you have it in there as a primary contact that it defaults to, and there's no response, no activity, and kind of to the point made earlier, well, what happens if that person's no longer there? How would I know, like, what's my next step to like send it to a second point of contact?
I think that's what Natasha was saying. Then, like, after X number of days, the system would automatically do that. Like, hey, there's been no activity. We're going to email the secondary contacts and say, hey, there's been no activity. So then the person doesn't have to know to go in and change it or like what those secondary contacts may be responsible for.
What I was
But
thinking.
we could just set like after however many days we feel is appropriate of no activity, the secondary contacts who should be like the managers or the backups are now getting emails about these referrals.
Like an escalation process.
Dina, do you think that that would work for, and I'm picking on LBS 7 just based on volume. So like knowing the number of referrals that come through Airtable that you guys are receiving through partners, having just one person, one primary contact receiving everything for an organization, would that work? I know right now you guys have the option to choose several individuals in an organization.
I'm thinking of it as like this system, this platform is also running alongside some of your more relationship building activities like the center level meetings, the system wide meetings. And so I think through those two, you learn who you need to be sending it to, who can respond, who can manage volume, who can't manage volume. So I think, yes, as long as it is kind of alongside those human interactions as well.
And we can have it set up so you can have more than one primary contact. Like, and think of it more as like your tiered approach, like primary contact. And then that's your first line of defense. And then your secondary contacts.
Also, Kelly, I want to recognize that Emma, who has done a lot of incredible work with the LWS 7 Airtable system, is out. And so as soon as she gets back, I will loop her into these conversations and make sure that sounds right.
Yeah, I know. Thanks. Sorry, Dean. I don't mean to put you on the spot. I know Emma's like really involved with all of the intricacies of Airtable. So
No problem.
appreciate it. And of course, we're happy to have you here too. So
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, I think that's fine. I think it's just making sure that there's some direction in the service finder for the, for the organization, letting them know that if they need to, update their contacts for the primary contacts or secondary for the referral, and the fact that every 6 months, they're verifying the contact information is up to date, then at least you've got multiple touch points in the system. And I like the idea of them being able to determine if they need to have more than one primary contact, Natasha.
And Natasha, I don't know if I'm getting too in the weeds here. So you can pull me back if I am, but like if they send the referral to the primary contact, maybe on the location side receiving the contact, they have a drop down where they can assign from their primary and secondary listing if it's not them. I don't know, Kelly, if That makes sense. I feel like it would be hard for like me to know if I'm sending it to you, your team, who I should pick, but you might know once you get it who it should go to.
Yeah, and I guess that's where I was thinking too, like here, do they have the option, to select an alternative contact? So like if the referral comes to Kelly Lapatino and I'm like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna, Jane Doe's gonna take this, I can update who the contact is to, reach out to that individual and update the status of the referral. I'm not too keen on the idea of like doing a mass email to like all 5 contacts at one organization. I think that's email overload.
Well, then with that, you also risk the other person's going to take care of this
Yeah.
thing.
Will there be the ability for we were mentioning like the one-stop operator to look at all of the referrals? Are there going to be administrators that can see every referral to make sure there isn't anything falling off? I mean, we've had some partners that have struggled to keep up, where maybe they just don't get many referrals as it is, and all of a sudden someone comes through and they haven't seen it in a while.
And then Jake, that should also be part of like the reporting where the admins can get in and run some reports.
I have the direct email automatically goes to the referral primary contact. Allow more than one primary contact. If there's more than there's more than one primary contact, include a drop down so that you select a primary contact that you're going to send it to, so there's not miscommunication and assuming the other person's going to do it and then neither person does it. The referral secondary contacts do not receive the initial email but can access referrals and dashboards, etc. They will receive red flag notifications. For example, if referrals are X number past due dates, and we can have that as even more of an escalation process. So maybe secondary referrals receive it, let's say after 5 days past due, and then admins will be able to see everything, run reports, etc. And they can receive red flag notifications, but we could even have it set up that admins, maybe secondary contacts, get it after 5 days and admins get it after 10 days. I'm not saying those are the right number of days, but if it needs to be more of an escalation process, then, that's an option as well. We do that currently with the service locator. So far, so good. Good on that. Okay. So we'll assume this is the only one primary contact that we have here for CBO number 5. And you can see that they have an active consent. And you can see the services requested for childcare and job and career readiness services. And I added a note in here that David needs financial assistance Monday, Wednesday, Friday to help cover costs to apply for a position XYZ. And these are the referral statuses. They wouldn't have the long description next to them. They'd have more of like an info bubble that is right here, that with the description of what it means. And I believe these are aligned with what's currently being done with the Airtable LWS 7. So we have referral received, confirmation, they've reviewed the record, attempting contact, receiving partners trying to make the customer, make contact with the customer, and they have 3 attempts are required. Referral in progress, engagement, the customer is engaged and awaits next steps. The referral is complete, is a successful completion. The receiving partner indicates the customer has attended an orientation or was enrolled or received services. The other option is referral closed. Customer did not show up for an orientation or did not receive services. And they attempted to contact the person 3 times without success. Any reactions?
Natasha, where did you say you got that sort of example from?
I believe it's been a little while. Pretty sure the example is from LBS 7 and what they use with Airtable.
So is that Dina?
Yes. I can't remember who I got it from specifically though.
So I just have a question is, so let's say I get the referral and then I click, yeah, received referral. Then once that person comes in, then I would be expected to go back in and change that to referral in progress. I mean, I just wanted to know, and if whatever area is using this, how good they've been about going back in and doing those extra steps.
I think it's been pretty successful.
Okay.
I think that the OSO has played a role in that. But I think this again is something that I would leave up to Emma to speak to. But according to the data that I can see, there are many people and many pieces of this process.
Lisa, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, because you raise a good point about going back in. Is there a way that once they respond to that, it could, automatically trigger a step in the system and then get some sort of notification? I guess the question is, can you automate that a little bit more so you're not like jumping in and out?
Other than as far as this jumping in and out.
Well, I mean, like if they say referral received or whatever.
Well, when they open it, I guess you could say that the referral is received. They just have to have a click to open it.
Okay.
But as far
Maybe
as
I'm not tracking what you guys are talking about.
sorry, I'm trying to like get back over here. I think these are aligned with like I can't see like 20,
Okay.
but 25 received.
But if you have, like, I guess I'm confused about, so if I get the referral and I accept the referral and it's in process, it's just going to show up on my dashboard. It's not going to make any indication in my case record.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have a status of the referral.
I don't have to go into the case record and then change the status. It will update the status automatically.
Well, for received, but I don't know how you tell somebody that you attempted contact 3 times,
Well, right. Gotcha.
So like I see like in this example sent by update, referral received, attempted contact, referral in progress.
But there's 2 ways to access this, right? So one would be just the standalone platform,
right,
but also from the program, right? So whichever management information system like that program or JTED, I can see the status from that participant profile in JTED, or I can come to this standalone system to see the status.
Right. So let's just say that you hit received and you hit send. Okay. You could print it. There's a print button, but so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go into like the customer's referral page. This is kind of what we do for the DHS version in their system. They have it where the top level is like the overall status. So you have 1, 2, so you can see this, but then you can like open it up, pop it open to expand to see like the thread. So you could, I'm sorry, these services don't match up exactly to what we had in the response because it was a previous version, but you could see it as whatever they are, like a referral received, attempting contact, I think referral in process. I can't remember what it is. Those would be like your statuses, so you could see that level. I guess if you're trying to not go into the referral, another option would be to just have like
How did you?
the referral, but maybe this is something that you could just at some point in time you're going to have to go into David and change and update it, you know. But whether you click in here and go into the referral and update it and submit it versus maybe this is a link and you just update the status, you know, and it goes directly into the referral. I think either way you're gonna have to, I don't know how to do it without going into the referral and giving you at least the option to make a case note with it,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I think I mean, if it saves a step by clicking the link there in your list, like your drop down list that you were just showing where you can get the statuses on your referral history.
Mhm.
That, I mean, I don't know, that would seem to me that would be easier than having to, you know, go into David, click referral, find the referral.
Yeah, well, this is David and David's referral page, but like if you went to, this is another version, like if you just went to, oh, I have a list of customers and I'm going to see everybody that has a referral status of attempted contact or something like that, or search by name, whatever. And then you get the filtered list, then like this view history or view referral would take you directly to that specific referral versus like if you want to see like Esther's referral page, you know, you could see like all the referrals for that
But
particular customer.
will that, how will this update, I mean, eventually update the career plan? So you can see in the career plan that you've got referrals pending or,
Well, those are like a service, right? I'm not sure what it would look like, but it would, I don't know, Olivia,
Well,
maybe, because
yeah,
you guys are
well,
working on the
Olivia,
career
just
plan, but
yeah, Olivia, make a note, because we're gonna, that's gonna have to tie into the career plan.
Yeah. Because referral will be a service that we can add, I believe, prior to enrollment and after enrollment or application. And so we have been kind of thinking and talking about that, and this will definitely hook up to the new system so that we're pulling this information in and can then, as when we associate services, we'll need a way to say like, to streamline saying that we're providing the wraparound on this referral and that it's done within 2.0.
Yeah, sorry, I know this is the standalone piece. So I didn't mean to get us off on the tangent.
I just want to take a quick gander.
I have a
Thank
quick
you.
question, but if you don't mind.
Mhm.
So for each of those, if you go back to that page right there, okay? So for referral status, so if I'm the person who the contact, I received the referral, And then I, send out an email or call the person, and then actually talk to them. Can I just skip right ahead to referral in progress and not do attempting contact? Or would I be expected to do all of those?
I'm not sure how LWS7 does it, but my thought originally is, I mean, honestly, you could probably do referral received and go straight to referral completed. I mean, depending, I guess, what the referral is, or in progress or completed. If it was something like they just needed something quickly and you did it,
Yes, they're not, you don't have to go in a certain order in 7. Like attempting contact is really contact went out and we're awaiting a second option to contact if they don't pick up the first time, but it lets the sender know that.
Yeah, at least I tried.
Exactly.
yeah, because you could go attempting contact straight to referral closed. If you can't get a hold of them, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that, what all steps were sort of expected. But yeah, I could see where, you go from attempting contact to closing it because you weren't successful.
Yeah, and I think that for LBS7, if you mark referral closed versus completed, they just ask, to put a note why the referral's marked closed rather than completed in the comments. And then they have the ability that if the referred customer reaches out later, that partners can reopen that referral.
All right. Well, we are at time, or actually 1 minute past time.
So just in that case that you talked about, so then if you've already closed the referral, how would you reopen it?
Like if you got a hold of them.
Yeah, can you unclick referral closed at that point? So maybe the person didn't contact you because they were in a car accident or something and they just never got back to you, and now 3 weeks later they're calling you again.
I would think that you could, personally, I would think that you could just go, I don't know, I shouldn't speak probably 7, but you could just go ahead and select referral in process. I mean, you'd have the overall history.
Okay, yeah, because the date would be later, right? So
Let me
you'd
just go
be able to
ahead
tell
and,
what's going on.
yeah, this is kind of what I was thinking about, for just like a history at the bottom of it, so you can kind of see what's going on. That includes some notes and who did it, and who updated it. Maybe it was started by Natasha and finished by Joel. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess if you're at time, I guess if we could have maybe one more session, because I would like to kind of dive into some of these other must-haves and like to have. That would be great.
I will send out an email and get that scheduled.
And Natasha, before you jump off, I sent you a message if you could take a peek at that.
Okay. About the city, state, county, is that the one?
Yeah, there's the USPS has like a API for zip codes. So just kind of earmarking that if there's a possibility to like build that in. So if they put the zip code in, it's gonna automatically populate the county.
Yeah, yep, that was actually one of the things we were thinking
Yeah.
too.
I know we were wanting to require county, but if we can auto-populate it, it will make things a lot easier. Because sometimes
Yeah.
it's just zip codes can border counties and, you know, all of that fun stuff. So especially our
Exactly.
friends where they have, you know, lots of counties in one area.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. I appreciate all the work you're doing on this. This is a lot of work, and it's
Well, it's good to get like feedback that of people that are used to referral systems and the must-haves and the need-to-have. That's we appreciate your expertise for sure.
Absolutely. You guys are our third group that we've kind of ran discovery past, and it's like, and even still, we're like, oh, that's a good, really great recommendation. So absolutely appreciate your feedback, and thank you to the Illinois WorkNet team, Natasha, for helping to move this forward.
Yeah, thanks. All right. Have a great rest of your day.
bye.
Bye.